Hello, welcome to the 30k channel. I'm your host David, and welcome to Militia Vs Mechanicum. Now, I have the absolute pleasure today of playing in a game, and I'm facing off an amazing militia force brought to us by Oliver. So good morning, Oliver.
Morning.
Thank you so much for coming down.
Well, pleasure's mine.
Good. Now, you made the trip from Cheltenham this morning?
Yeah, that's correct.
Not too far?
No, a couple of hours in the car, so all right, and out the radio on.
Excellent.
Fly by.
Now, our paths have crossed quite a while ago, haven't they?
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago, maybe 2, 3, maybe. Met in Incom in Cheltenham on a cut-off paint course.
Yeah.
I think that was maybe your first experience of the cut-off paint, was it?
Well, I think it was MKA at the time.
Right, okay.
And then it changed to Colt when Matt left. But yeah, so we were in the same room years ago. And who knew we'd be in the same room again with this amazing militia force in front of us? So
yeah, I think I literally just started in the Christmas before that, and yeah, many years later, doesn't really seem that much further down the track, to be honest. But they're on the table, I suppose. So progress. Yeah,
and to be fair, you know that. Perhaps you're right. There's not that much progress made, but the progress you have made is phenomenal. It's cool.
Yeah, I quite like it. I quite enjoy it. It's a labour of love, isn't it? Definitely. I think for the how far I've got and how much time and effort I put in, it's
wild.
Glacial, isn't it?
Well, I know, but with that glacial speed comes just absolute precision and real detail, which we're going to talk about very soon. We're running 1,200 points today, and the reason why we're running 12 is exactly the reason why I've stated. You know, this army is an absolute labour of love, so we are going to talk about it a little bit. So can you just tell us, you know, we chatted before this about where the inspirations come from. So can you just give us a snippet of that conversation we had?
The militia list for 30k is really quite flexible. It gives you a sort of canvas to build whatever you want. And I didn't really want to go down the sort of Cadian route, although, you know, the nice miniatures, I wanted something quite individual. And so I went with more of a sort of first Gulf War Americans aesthetic, loosely based, but obviously keeping all the weapons, legitimate 30k stuff for ease of play. And yeah, so the main force is built around the Elysian miniatures with some head swaps and torso swaps from Anvil Industries, which both parts are really great. Fortunately, you can't get the Elysians anymore, but they are lovely models.
So if we take a look at some of the detail of the units here, Oliver, we've got, you know, you've got Scout Sentinels in the squad, but they're more of they're a wheeled vehicle, aren't they? Tell us about those.
Yeah, my Scout Sentinels, I thought for a desert theme, maybe walkers weren't the best idea on sort of loose sand, and obviously the crew would be in the sun all day, so I thought maybe a sort of compartmentalised vehicle version. So I've used some scale military models, converted up, and I'm quite pleased with them. It's my first real attempt at using traditional military model painting techniques as well. So yeah, I just really watched loads of YouTube videos and had a play, and luckily it came out all right. I think I'm quite happy with them.
And talk to us about the Ogrins as well. They're pretty cool.
Yeah, my Ogrins are kind of maybe got a bit of an alien vibe, where it's a sort of a human in a mechanical suit, really, rather than a monstrous ogre.
Yeah.
So just to give it a bit more reality, keep it a bit more reality based, I suppose.
I think that's the key word here, because if you look at the 30k range, it's all set in the future. You've got superhuman men in big suits of armour, or you've got big robots with macadendrites and all sort of weird and wild sort of stuff. But as you said, because it's based on sort of Gulf War, it's almost like our current forces, but 20 years in the future. It kind of just feels a little bit like that.
Yeah, and I think that gives you like a good juxtaposition for sort of fighting the advanced stuff like Mechanicum and Space Marines. It really makes you remember that they're not humans or sort of the technology that we're used to. They're a leap on from what the Imperium is sort of standard grunts really have.
But also as well, when you look at the Elysian range or the Solar Auxiliary range next to a Space Marine, or even a Primaris Marine for that matter, because they are humongous, but next to a Thalax or a Castellax model, you get appreciation of how small and puny, I guess, the humans are, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. And the Elysian range especially is really dynamic, so next to a big sort of bulky Marine stood upright, it really sells that, and they just look... I think both miniatures next to each other look even better because of that.
Yeah, so what we've got for you in this game is definitely a feast for your eyes. We've got the kind of real gritty, realistic kind of forces unit against fantastical big robots with laser guns almost. So you can kind of pitch it like that, really. But it's going to be a really interesting game. you may notice the lists, or you will do when we go into the list. The Mechanicum have very, very small amounts of units. I think I've got 21 models. I think I've got 5 to 20. Yeah, 21 models, including the HQ, and the Militia seriously outgun us. But, and I talked to this about the board build video that I did, that we will have to rely on the Thalax's ability to use their jetpacks to move, shoot, and then retreat behind cover. Because if any of those units are left out in the open, the mass amount of AP4 weaponry from the Militia is just going to mow down the Thalax. So what a lot of our viewers might say is well, it's a little bit unbalanced. You've got a ton of infantry with loads of AP4 against robots. It's a little bit unfair, but I think sometimes you need to play a game that tells a really great story, or is a bit of a mismatch, rather than, because I could have taken loads of Mechanicum with loads of special weapons and loads of range and loads of AP1, AP2, and we could have just sat at each other, blasting each other across the battlefield, which I think is a little bit boring. So the Mechanicum have got to play a really, really dynamic game. Whereas the Militia, you've got to pass leadership tests. I think that might be your...
Yeah, although with the objectives, I've still got to get up the board.
True.
And my army isn't really built for getting up and close to people, so I don't think I'll have it all my way.
Well, it's going to be really interesting. We're playing the Onslaught mission and Hammer and Anvil, and we've placed an objective virtually in the same position each end. And don't forget, we've got to get through each other and onto that objective at the end of the game. It's worth 5 points. There's also Warlord and Attrition available. And as I say, the Mechanicum have got to play a dynamic game of getting in, getting out, and shooting stuff and retreating back. And the Militia have just got to hold strong, advance, and get through to your objective. The way I've kind of built the board is that I've placed the doors facing this way, which means the Mechanicum have raided the camp, and then there's a force coming back from the Militia back to their camp, not knowing that it's been raided, and the Mechanicum are sallying out from the camp to kind of take care of the rest of the Militia, and the Militia are coming back through the fringes of the battlefield with their bastions before we actually get to the main base, which is about a mile that way. So we kind of set it up that way, and Hammer and Anvil works really perfectly for us. And because it's only 1,000, just over 1,000 points, if we'd played Dawn of War, it just wouldn't have been an extended line. I don't think a lot of stuff would have interacted with each other.
Yeah.
So at least now we'll all get in the guts of it, which would be quite interesting.
Definitely got some choices to make, I think. So that's obviously what the game's about, making choices.
Absolutely. I haven't played a game in ages, so I'm really looking forward to this. I've filmed tons of games, but not actually played any. So good luck to you.
And to you.
And we'll see the beginning of Militia Turn 1. 1200 points, Mechanicum Tagmata, led by an Arch Magos Prime. His Warlord trait is Predictive Augury. The Warlord is an Arch Magos Prime. He's been upgraded to have a jetpack, an Augury scanner. He has taken the Murmured Axe upgrade, which allows him to fire 2 weapons in the shooting phase. He has 2 melter guns, a power weapon, and 2 Cyber Ocularis. The 5 troops choices are taken from Thalax cohorts. There are 4 in each. They are armed with a lightning gun and have been upgraded to take heavy chain blades.
Crusade Imperialis Militia, 1200 points. The provenances for the army are Alchem Jackers and Survivors of the Dark Age. The commander's warlord trait is the Merchant Princeling, a force commander who has a charnable sabre and a las pistol. A force commander, he is equipped with a charnable sabre, frag grenades, and a needle pistol. He is also wearing flak armour and has a refractor field. A 9-man platoon command cadre, equipped with shotguns. There is also a standard bearer and a Vox operator. They are equipped with 3 las pistols and 3 combat shotguns. They also have frag grenades and crack grenades and close combat weapons. The first and only elite selection is 3 Ogrin Brutes, equipped with close combat weapons, frag grenades and heavy bolters. The first 3 troops choices are filled with Grenadier squads, each comprising of 12 men, armed with auxiliary las rifles, close combat weapons, frag grenades, las pistols and 2 rotor cannons. The final troops choice is a fire support squad comprising of 12 men into 6 heavy bolter weapons teams, also armed with close combat weapons, frag grenades and las pistols. The 2 fast attack choices comprise of 3 sentinels, each equipped with autocannons. Militia Turn 1 movement. The 3 grenadier squads have steadily marched forward supported by the Ogrins in the centre and one of the Scout Sentinels. The other Scout Sentinels have peeled round to the left, while the fire support squad with the heavy bolters remains in a position looking over the battlefield at the rear. Militia turn 1 shooting. We're going to open the salvo with the 3 Sentinels in the centre firing at the HQ. They each have 1 autocannon, so that's 2 shots. Ballistic skill 3, hitting on 4s. It looks pretty good. I was looking at the 6, maybe not. Only 1 hit.
Strength 7, toughness 5, so 2s to wound. What do we got? Oh, that is a 1.
Terrible. Next up is the Grenadier squad on the left, firing 2 rotor cannons into the same HQ choice. Ballistic skill 4, so they need 3s to hit. All hit. Usually rotor cannons are strength 3, but with my provenance I've chosen, they are strength 4.
5s to wound. That's not bad, 2 wounds. 2. All right, the closest model, it's a little bit equidistant, so we'll go on to the Thalax. They have a 4-up armor save. 1 pass, 1 failed. Now 6 up, feel no pain. Pass, that's pretty good.
Up next is the second Grenadier squad, firing exactly the same unit, this time again with just the 2 rotor cannons. So 4 shots, hitting on 3s. 3 hit, that's pretty good. And 5s to wound, 2 wounds.
All right, the Cyber got Claris is first. He has a 3-up armor save, which he's passed, and the other one has failed. So 1 Cyber Claris has been killed.
Just returning to the first Grenadier squad, slight confusion. The rotor cannons are salvo 3-4, so they both each got another shot, firing obviously the same unit. Hitting on 3s, 1 hit, and wounded on 5s. And that's a miss. And the second Grenadier squad, same again, the 2 shots we forgot to do. Hitting on 3s, and wounded on 5s. Or 1 wound.
All right, so the Cyber Claris is dead now, so we go straight to the Magos, and he has a 2-up armor save. Oh, God. Oh, he passed, thank God.
And the final Grenadier squad shooting 1 rotor cannon, because that's all it can see, into the Thalax on the right-hand side. So 3 shots, hitting on 3s. Or 1 hit, it's not too bad. Hopefully I'll get a wound of a 5+. Yep, 1 wound.
All right, Thalax have a 4-up armor. 6 up, feel no pain. Oh, pass. Those feel no pain are working today.
End of Militia turn 1. I'm fairly happy with the first turn. We've obviously moved forward and we've peppered the enemy a bit, taking 1 casualty. Decent round.
Mechanicum turn 1 movement. Not a huge amount of movement from Mechanicum. This squad has stayed stationary because if they move out, they have no range on the enemy. But the Magos and his 4 Thalax have moved forward and they will try and put some shots down into this Grenadier squad. The Thalax cohort in the centre of the board have popped out and they will try and take down one of those Sentinels this turn, reducing the firepower coming in from the Militia. And then finally on this left-hand side of the battlefield, this Thalax cohort have moved up. They won't be able to get a target, but they will just move. They will run in the shooting phase rather, and then assault to get out of line of sight for the future turns. So we shall see what we can do. Mechanicum turn 1 shooting, and we start with the Thalax cohort on the left hand side here with the Magos. Only 2 are in range with their lightning guns into the Militia squad, so we require 3s to hit. That is 1 hit, not amazing. Now we're strength 7 with shred and rending. Now we are rend, which is really good, so that makes the shot AP 2. The Militia would have a 4-up armor, but because of their provenance,
Survivors of the Dark Age, it goes to 3-up.
Perfect, but because it is a rend, that killed 1 of those Militia models. On this side of the board, this Thalax cohort here ran 4 inches to the base of that rock. They'll probably use their thrust move just to bring them on top by the bastion, but we'll have a look in the assault phase. The 4 Thalax have drawn a bead with their lightning guns into the Sentinel Scout Squadron. They are just within range, so 4 shots requiring 3s to hit. That is 3 hits, really good. Their strength 7, front armor 10, we need a 3 to glance and a 4 to pen. Oh, we've got a good cox there. Oh, look at that. That is a complete fail. What a shame. Mechanicum turn 1 assault phase. All that happened in assault phase was some thrust moves were rolled. So the Phalanx with the Magos managed a massive 11, although they only moved about 3 or 4 inches just to get to the base of those rocks to help cover them from the incoming firepower from the Grenadiers and the Scout Sentinels. This squad stayed absolutely stationary. They are safe where they are and they're just biding their time. And then this squad here that got on top of the rocks had a failed attempt at the Sentinels. They have got down back behind cover, and then finally this unit here have advanced forward 5 inches just to bring them into base with that rock so they can get out the firepower from the militia. That's the end of the turn. Not bad generally. Would have been nice to kill one of those Sentinels, but we'll see how we get on.
Militia turn 2 movement. The 2 Grenadier squads have pincered around the tower towards the HQ. The Scout Sentinels continue their advance at the left flank. In the centre, the 2nd Scout Sentinel squad have advanced, along with the Ogrins. And on the right flank, the 3rd Militia squad have advanced to draw a bead on the Phalanx. Militia turn 2 shooting. The Grenadiers on the right flank have advanced and are now about to shoot on the Phalanx. We begin the shooting with 2 rotor cannons. So 6 shots, hitting on 3s. Oh, there's a cocked one, should we do that? So not too bad there. 4, and wounding on 5s. Ooh.
Two wounds ain't too bad. Alright, so we need a 4-up armour save, which we make, thankfully.
Next up from the Grenadiers is their auxiliary las rifles and the las pistol, consisting of 19 shots, 14 of which hit on a 3+, and then 6 wounds on a 5 or more.
Alright, so we 6 4-up armour saves. That's not too bad. We drop 2, so we get 6-up, feel no pain. Oh, so we lose 2 wounds from the lead Phalanx.
Next up is the Brute Ogrin squad firing at the Cyber Ocularis. Only 2 can see, so that's a total of 6 heavy bolter shots with a ballistic skill of 2. So hitting on 5s. Well, that's 2 hits, not bad. And wounding on 2s. 2 wounds.
All right, okay, so the Cyber Ocularis has 3-up armour save. Can it save? It does.
Next up is the Central Scout Sentinel squad firing at the HQ on the left flank. 3 autocannons, it's a total of 6 shots. Hitting on 4s. Oh, terrible. Only 1 has managed to find the target. And wounding on 2s. 6, so a successful wound.
All right, so toughness 5 from the Magos there, and he's a 2-up armour save, so fingers crossed. Oh, off the board. Okay, does save.
The Grenadier squad in the centre have fired at the HQ choice on the left with 16 shots from the auxiliary las rifles and las pistols, 7 of which hit, and then 5 wounds, which I'm pretty pleased with.
Yeah, good round of shooting there, considering toughness 5 to wound. So the Phalanx are first in that squad, so we need 4-up armour saves. Oh, failed 2. And then 6-up, feel no pain. So 2 wounds go down.
So the 6 shots from the 2 rotor cannons into the same HQ choice. Hitting on 3s. Not too shabby. That's 4. And wounding on 5s. None. The Grenadier squad on the left, shooting at the Phalanx, also on the left, shot 19 shots, 7 of which hit, and only caused 2 wounds.
All right, so these goes on to the lead Phalanx, and we need a 4-up armour save, 1 pass, 1 fail, and now a 6-up, feel no pain, fail, so another wound goes down.
The 2 rotor cannons into the Phalanx, so that's 6 shots, hitting on 3s. That's 4 hits, and wounding on 5s. And then we have 1 more wound.
All right, so another 4-up armour save. Oh, we passed. That's great news.
The Scout Sentinel squad that are sweeping round to the left are also going to shoot at the Phalanx. Only 2 of them can see, so that's 2 autocannon shots, ballistic skill 3, hitting on 4s. 2 hits. Wounding on 2s.
All right, 2 wounds. So again, this is AP4 though, but because of the cover, we'll get a 4-up cover save, which is good news. So we need 4s. Pass 1, fails 1, and feel no pain. No, so that is 1 more wound lost.
End of turn 2 for the Militia. I'm pretty pleased with how it went. The Militia Grenadier squads themselves have inflicted a few wounds, which I was quite pleased with. A shame the Scout Sentinels couldn't do a bit more damage, but it's still early days.
Mechanicum turn 2 movement started with reserve rolls, and thankfully the last cohort of Thalax have come in and they have deep struck with a small 4-inch scatter right in front of that fire support team. They need to start contesting the objective and whittle those heavy bolter shots coming back at the Mechanicum. The Magos and his Thalax cohort have moved forward to engage this Grenadier squad. And then finally, the 2 Thalax units in the centre of board have pushed forward, broken out of cover, and they will try and take on the Scout Sentinels in the centre of the board. Hopefully successful there, but it will leave them vulnerable for the next turn for the Ogrin squad. We'll just have to weather the storm. And then this Thalax cohort on the left has moved into range of assault of that Grenadier squad, and hopefully will get stuck into combat. Mechanicum turn 2 shooting. Starting on the left flank, we have 4 lightning guns into the Grenadier squad, hitting on 3s. That is 3 hits, and then 2s to wound with shred and rending. So we get 1 rend and 2 wounds. So the rend will kill a Grenadier, and then we've got 2 3-up armor saves, which are passed. Moving on into the centre of board, we have 4 Thalax into the lead Scout Sentinel there, requiring 3s to hit. Oh geez, only 2 hits, but hopefully we can have a better penetration roll this time. 3s to glance, 4s to dance. Okay, so that is 2 pens. There is no cover save there, and that kills the first Sentinel. Due to the AP1 for the rending weapon, it could destroy the first Sentinel, then a whole point onto the second, because they are a squadron. So let's roll damage result for the first, and it doesn't, so that's fine. So the lead Sentinel is wrecked. Let's see if we can repeat the same luck. So we've got 4 Thalax there on top of that rock, firing into the second Scout Sentinel, requiring 3s to hit. Okay, so same as before, 2 hits, at least we're being statistical, and then 3 to glance, 4s to dance. Oh, and that is 2 more pens. We can't explode the vehicle, so that is another one wrecked. The Archmagos Prime fired his double melter guns into the militia squad there. Got 1 hit and 1 wound, and that managed to kill one of the militia. Then we've got 4 Thalax with their lightning guns into the same squad. Only 3 hits. 2s to wound, shred and rending. Oh, we do get shred, unbelievably. Oh, look at that. That is 3 rending shots, and that will kill 3 of the militia with no armor saves. Last round of shooting for the Mechanicum on turn 2. We've got the deep striking unit here. 4 shots into the fire support teams, requiring 3s to hit. Oh, geez, 2 hits. We're strength 7, so we will insta-kill them because we double the toughness. And that is one rend, which will destroy 1, but then there is an armor save from the fire support team. The weapon is AP4 and the armor is 4-up, so there was no save, and that does kill 2 of those fire teams.
The fire support squad took fairly heavy casualties, and as such had to take a leadership test, which they passed on a 4.
Mechanicum turn 2 assault phase. This cohort on the left hand side have charged the Grenadiers. Overwatch was taken. There was 4 shots that hit, 2 wounds, but they were passed on the armour of the Thalax there. But over on the far end, the Warlord declared a charge with his Thalax against the Grenadier shots. And after 19 Overwatch shots, there was 7 hits, which was unbelievable. 1 wound, but that's saved on the Thalax's armour. And then finally, we're going to do a dice roll for this charge here. This Thalax unit is going to attempt a massive 12-inch charge to take out that final Sentinel Scout Squadron. So we need a 12. Oh, I saw it flash. It's an 8, so no dice.
The Thalax have charged the militia, and in close combat with the higher initiative, the militia attacked first. A weapon skill of 3 each means they require 4s to hit, which I've done pretty well there. And then 5s to wound. 6s to wound, sorry. And just the 1 solitary wound.
Oh, okay, not too bad. So 4-up armor save from the Thalax there, and that is passed. They get feel no pain. Oh, that is also failed as well. So that does in fact kill one of the Thalax that had 2 wounds already. Great work. Striking back at initiative 2, the 3 Thalax remaining have 3 attacks each, so 2 base plus 1 for charging. 9 attacks back. I've only got 6 dice in my hand, so we'll have to do that separately. Oh, that is terrible. We score 1 hit so far, 3 more attacks to roll. And that is 2 hits total. Holy hell. We are strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound. That is 2 wounds caused on the militia, but at AP 4, they have a 3-up armor save.
Oh, 1 saved.
Oh, so that, unbelievably, is a drawn combat. Slight correction, the Grenadiers are within 24 inches of the platoon standard, and it literally is a hair's breadth, but they are within 24, which means they won the combat by 1. They get +1 to their combat resolution. The Phalanx are stubborn and require a leadership of 8 or less. Oh, thankfully, they rolled a 6. That combat will continue. Combat on the other side of the board here between the HQ and the Phalanx cohort and the Militia Grenadier squad. The Archmagos Prime attacks first at Initiative 4 with his power weapon. He has 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. That's 2 hits. Strength 4, toughness 3, so not 1 or 2, unfortunately. So he completely whiffs with his power weapon. Next strike is a Militia at Initiative 3. There is 7 attacks, requiring 4s to hit.
That's pretty decent. 4 hits, requiring 6s to wound. And no wounds, unfortunately.
Oh, the toughness of the Phalanx there, keeping them alive. Next strike at Initiative 2 is the 4 Phalanx. There is 12 attacks. We have to do these 6 at a time, so requiring 4s to hit. So 1 hit so far, and the same again. Oh, geez. Okay, so 4 hits, not too bad. And now we're strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound. And that is 3 wounds dealt onto the militia. 3-up armor save. They have all passed. We will check the range of the platoon standard. After checking the platoon standard, the militia are in range, which means they won the combat by 1. The Archmagos Prime is leadership 10 and stubborn, so no negative modifier, 10 or under. Lovely, that is a 5. At the end of the assault phase, the final action was the Phalanx cohort there was on the centre of the board, thrust move 7 inches further into the valley and towards the militia. Whether that's a good decision or not, we don't know, but we just need to push up and gain ground on the militia. End of turn 2 for the Mechanicum. Not a bad turn. I did expect the 2 Phalanx units and the Magos to wipe out those militia units, but that platoon standard come in really handy. It was good to take out those 2 Sentinels, but although we made a ballsy play right at the beginning of the turn, deep striking this unit in, we have now got to face down a ton of firepower. And if a lot of those units get redirected by the militia, then that could wipe out that cheeky gamble and then keep the Mechanicum at arm's length. But we'll see what we've got.
Militia, turn 3 movement. The Scout Sentinels on the left flank have advanced slightly to possibly support the Grenadiers in front. Both the Scout Sentinel on its own and the Ogrins have advanced straight down the middle, taking the fight to the Phalanx. My HQ choices have remained guarding the objective, hopefully looking to support my fire support team, who are also ready to open up fire upon the Phalanx in front of them. And my central Grenadiers have advanced strongly straight down the centre. The militia turn 3 shooting. The fire support squad are going to open up with all 4 heavy bolters into the Phalanx in front of them. This is a crucial shooting. So 12 shots, hitting on 4s. Not too shabby, I don't think. It's probably a bit above average. So we have 7 hits and wounding on 4s. 4 wounds.
4 wounds. All right, I was very worried about the shots coming in. So it goes straight through the Phalanx's armour and goes straight onto their 6-up Feel No Pain. So 4 wounds, I think it was, wasn't it? Yeah, 4 wounds. Here we go. Okay, so not a sausage. So that does kill 1 Phalanx and 1 wound, and 1 model has taken a wound.
Next to fire is the Force Commander, who missed with his needle pistol. Following that for 3 las pistols from the command cadre and 6 combat shotguns, resulting in 4 wounds.
All right, so we need 4-up armor saves for these Phalanx, which we fail 3. This is not good. And then 6-up Feel No Pain. Okay, so we make 1 and fail 2. So that Phalanx there is dead.
The Scout Sentinels on the left flank are going to fire their shots into the Thalax in the centre, sat in front of the fire support squad. This is 3 auto cannons, so that's 6 shots, hitting on 4s. Ooh, some fairly good shooting there, probably average. And
2s to wound. All right, so 3 wounds total. So the AP4 of the weapon goes through the Thalax's armour, and we go straight on to Feel No Pain. Wish me luck. Oh, so 1 passed, and that Thalax there takes 2 wounds.
the central Grenadier squad is going to open up on front of the Thalax in front of them. We'll start this by shooting the 2 rotor cannons, so that's 6 shots. Hitting on 3s. Oh, yes. And wounding on 5s.
So 4 hits.
4 hits. And 1 wound.
All right, so 4 up armour save. Oh, passed on a 6, lovely.
The las rifle and las pistol combined to fire 19 shots at the Thalax in front of them. Unfortunately, after 17 hits, only 1 wound was caused.
All right, so we need 1 4-up armour save on that Thalax. It's failed. Feel No Pain. Oh, passed.
The Ogren Brutes in the centre are going to shoot at the same Thalax unit that the Grenadiers just shot. They've got a very poor ballistic skill of 2, so that's 6 shots, hitting on 5s. Oh, there's at least 1 crack Ogren Brute in there with 1 hit. And wounding. And that's a 1, so that's obviously a fail. The Scout Sentinel, that's on its own in the centre, is going to pump its 2 autocannon shots into the Thalax. So hitting on 4s, both miss. Militia turn 3 assault phase. The Ogren Brutes in the centre failed a charge against the Thalax, and the Force Commander with his retinue successfully charged the Thalax in the rear.
Combat between the Archmagos Prime and his Thalax cohort against the Grenadiers. Striking initiative 4, the Archmagos goes in. 2 attacks requiring 3s to hit, 1 hit and 3s to wound with a power weapon. That's good this time, and managed to slay the rotor cannon armed militia.
The Militia Grenadiers fighting back. 6 attacks, hitting on 4s.
That is a lot of 1s.
Yeah, just the 1. And wounding on a 6.
Oh, 4 up armour to save. Fail. 6 up Feel No Pain. No, and that does kill 1 Thalax who had 2 wounds on already. Next to strike at initiative 2 are the Thalax with 2 attacks each. So 6 attacks hitting on 4s. That is 1, 2, 4 hits. And with strength 7, so 2s to wound. Oh wow, so that's 4 wounds, but there is a 3-up armour save.
Juggling dice.
All right.
Oh, 2.
Oh, 2 militia are dead. At the end of that combat there, the Thalax and the Archmagos Prime have won the combat by a difference of 2. With leadership 7, -2. The standard does not come into play here, so we need a leadership of 5 or less. Oh, unbelievably, that is a 5.
On the other side of the board, combat between the Grenadiers and the Thalax. The Grenadiers are striking first with 13 attacks, hitting on 4s.
That's not too bad, is it?
No, that's pretty good. So that's a total of 6 hits. And wounding on 5s.
6s. Your strength
6s.
3, toughness 5.
So it's just the 1.
Okay, so we need 1 4-up armour save. Is failed. 6 up Feel No Pain. Dropping dice. Oh, failed. So it's 1 wound on 1 of those Thalax. Striking back at initiative 2, 6 attacks from those 3 Thalax requiring 4s to hit. That is appalling with only 2 hits. Strength 7, toughness 3, 2s. That is 2 wounds, but there is a 3-up armour save.
Or just the 1.
Oh, so that is a drawn combat, but we're going to check the range of the banner. At the end of the combat, the result was a draw, but because the banner is within range of the Grenadier squad, they get a combat resolution of +1. So the militia have won the combat, and the Thalax need to take a leadership test of 8 due to being stubborn, and they pass on a 5. Love it.
The combat between the Thalax and the Militia HQ. The Force Commander is going to strike with his Charnable Sabre. He has 3 attacks, 2 basic, 1 for an extra close combat weapon. So all 3 have hit, and he's wounding
On 6s. Oh, 6s would have been rending though, but no result.
The platoon command cadre are attacking with 13 attacks, hitting on 4s.
That is pretty good.
I nearly missed that one, so that's 6 hits. If I can pick them up. So strength 3, so that's 1 wound.
1 wound, yeah, requiring 6s to wound. So there is 1 Thalax with 1 wound remaining. So let's see if the militia can pip him off. 4 up armor. Fail. 6 up, feel no pain. Oh! And that Thalax goes down to the weight of attacks from the militia HQ. Striking at initiative 2, the Thalax comes in with his heavy chamberblade. 2 attacks, hitting on 4s. This is a good start. 2s to wound, being strength 7, toughness 3, sorry. That is 2 wounds. The heavy chainblade is AP 4, and that is enough to cut through the armour of those militia, killing 2. At the end of that combat there, the Thalax technically have won combat by a difference of 1, but because of the banner, combat resolution is +1 to militia, and therefore is a drawn combat. So the central objective and the end of the militia's deployment zone is currently being contested.
The end of turn 3 review for the militia. We've sort of dug in everywhere really and ground out not really victories or losses, but we're just digging in. We're slowly whittling them down, which I suppose the numbers are in our favour currently, so I'm fairly happy with that.
Mechanicum turn 3 movement. A majority of the force is in combat, which is not where the Mechanicum want to be. However, the 2 Thalax squads in the centre of the board have moved up. 1 will engage the Ogre and Brute squad, and the second squad were thinking of sneaking through the wrecked sentinels there, and the Grenadier squad to make it as a good thrust onto the objective. However, the fire support team is lying in wait for those Thalax, so I think it's best if the Thalax go after the Grenadiers. Mechanicum turn 3 shooting phase, and we're going to kick off with the Thalax cohort in the centre of the board, firing lightning guns into the Ogre and Brute squad. So 4 shots, hitting on 3s. Oh, 2 hits, not going too well. Strength 7, toughness 5. They do have a 3 up armor save, so we need the rending. Okay, so we do get shred, which is good. Oh no, so it's just 1 armor save of 3 up to make.
3.
Passed. It looks like we're going to have to get into combat. Next to fire is the other Thalax cohort into the Grenadier squad. Looks like we'll have to charge these ones as well, but we'll see how we get on. So 4 shots, 3s to hit. That is 3 hits, thankfully. Strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound, shred and rending. Okay, so that is 3 wounds, so 3 up armor saves to make.
And all but 1.
Does kill 1 Grenadier. Mechanicum turn 3 assault phase. The Thalax cohort here charged the Brute squad. Overwatch was taken, no wounds suffered, and they made it in, which is brilliant. And then finally on the end there, the 4 Thalax charged the Grenadier squad. A ton of shots coming in, which resulted in 1 wound on the Thalax. Starting with the combat on this side of the board, we've got the Archmagos Prime with his power weapon into the Grenadier squads. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. That is 1 hit. And 3s to kill. And that is 1 dead Grenadier.
The Grenadier squad striking back at initiative 3. 3 attacks. 2 hits.
Oh, 1 wound.
1 wound.
It's pretty good. Okay, so one of the Thalax is on 1 wound remaining, so 4 up. Pass, thankfully. At initiative 2, the remaining 3 Thalax attack back with 6 attacks requiring 4s. Oh, geez. All right, so 2 hits, strength 7, 2s to wound, 1 wound, and there is a 3 up armor save. Ah, hot damn, and that is made. At the end of that combat, the Mechanicum won by a difference of 1. The banner is out of range, so now we need a leadership of 6 or under for the militia. Oh, they have failed. The Mechanicum can't pursue due to the Lorical Thalax rule, so the militia fall back 2d6. They're going 8 inches. After winning the combat, the Thalax and the Archmagos Prime consolidated 3 inches towards the Sentinels. Next combat is the 4 Thalax in contact with the Grenadiers. The Grenadiers attack at initiative 3 first with 19 attacks.
4s to hit, followed by 6s.
Not a bad spread of hits there.
6s to wound, 2 wounds.
Oh, hot damn. All right, so we go on to 4 up armor. Fail. 6 up, feel no pain. Okay, so they do fail 2, and that is enough to kill a Thalax. Next striker, initiative 2, the Thalax have 2 base, +1 for charging, 9 attacks into the militia, requiring 4s to hit. Oh, that is terrible. So that is only 2 hits from 9. Strength 7, 2s to wound, 2 wounds, but 3 up armor saves.
2 of, both passed.
Oh, wowzers. All right, so the Thalax have lost combat. They are stubborn, require leadership of 8 or less. Oh, roll a 5. That combat will continue. Combat between the 2 command squads and the Thalax single member there. We're going to start with the Force Commander with 3 attacks.
2 wounds.
So 2 hits.
Oh, sorry, 2 hits. And then rolling to wound, which I need 6s forward.
6s, yeah.
Or 1.
Oh, my word. All right, so 4 up armor there from the Thalax. Failed. Come on, 6 up. Oh, my word. So 1 wound on that Thalax. Next to attack is the rest of the squad. We've got 8 attacks hitting on 4s. It's pretty good.
So 4 hit, bang average, and then 6s to wound. Hopefully, another cheeky wound.
All right, okay, again, we need that 4 up armor save. 6 up. Oh, no. There is 1 wound remaining on that Thalax. Next striker, initiative 2, is the Thalax with heavy chain blade. It goes in with 2 attacks, hits once, wounds once, and that is enough to cleave one of those militia in 2.
Next striking at initiative 1 is the platoon sergeant with his power fist. He gets 2 attacks.
Hits once, that's all you need. Oh, God. So that is enough. So you are strength 6, so your Guardman's base 3, doubles him out. So that is a feel no pain, or that Thalax is dead. Oh, okay, and that is enough to kill the Thalax. And how far does the platoon consolidate? Combat in the centre of the board is the Brute Ogryn squad versus the Thalax. The Ogryns are initiative 3 and will strike first with their 9 attacks.
So
3s to hit.
Could have done a bit better, but it's not too bad. So that's 4 hit and strength 5.
Toughness 5. 4s to wound.
2 wounds.
All right, so there's a 4 up armor save from the Thalax. Oh man, what's going on? 6 up, feel no pain. We get 1, so 1 wound caused onto those Thalax. Next strike at initiative 2 is the 12 attacks from the Thalax into the Ogryn Brute squad, requiring 4s to hit. That is not a bad dice roll. We drop 3 total, so 9 hits in total. And now with strength 7, toughness 5, 2s to wound. That is pretty good. That is 9 3-up armor saves to make.
9 3-up armor saves. All made.
You're joking. Holy hell. All right, well, that's fine. So the Thalax have lost combat by a difference of 1. They are stubborn. They require a roll of an 8. Oh, and they have failed. Unbelievable. So we could get swept by the Ogryn Brute squad. So a roll for your initiative, please. Oh, I don't think the mechanic can get away from that. So your initiative 3, is that right?
Yep.
So you're an 8. Roll for the Mechanicum is a 6, and that is an 8 also. That unit has been caught and swept by the Ogryn Brute squad.
After winning the combat, the Ogryns consolidated 5 inches towards the centre of the board.
Final combat of turn 3 by the Bastion. The 3 Thalax are taking on the Militia squad. The Militia do get strike first at initiative 3.
12 attacks.
4s to hit. Not too bad.
Probably about average. So
Yeah.
5 hits in total.
6s to wound.
6s. Oh, not a bad roll, but no 6s.
Oh, a slight reprieve for the Mechanicum. Striking back at initiative 2. 6 attacks from those Thalax and the heavy chain blades. 4s to hit. That is about right. 2 hits and 2s to wound. Now we need 2 3-up armor saves.
Neither.
Both failed. The Militia have lost the combat by a difference of 2, but when you factor in the banner, they have only lost by 1. However, they are Alchem Jackers, which means they ignore negative modifiers for leadership tests in the assault and any others. So they have a leadership test on 8.
They pass.
And they have passed. That combat will continue. at the end of Mechanicum turn 3, you know, having that unit swept by the Ogrin Brutes was absolutely brutal, if you excuse the pun. Really bad result there. However, the Mechanicum are locking the militia in place, and we will try for a push on the objective in the latter part of the game. But hopefully we've done enough to deny the militia access to the Mechanicum's objective, but we shall find out.
Militia, turn 4, movement. The only unit to move is the Sentinel on its own, has just spun 180 in an attempt to maybe provide some fire support in later turns. On the left flank, the Militia Grenadiers rallied, passing a leadership check of 7, and they move forward 3 inches. The Scout Sentinels behind are just providing cover and fire. In the centre, the Force Commander and his retinue are standing still, protecting the objective, also supported by the fire support squad. The last 2 Grenadier squads are locked in combat with the Phalanx in the centre of the board and on the right hand side of the board. Militia, turn 4, shooting. The rallied Grenadiers are going to rapid fire into the approaching Phalanx. So that's 6 shots, hitting on 4s.
6s because they rallied, so snap shoots.
So just the 1.
5s to wound.
Wounding on 5s, it's a 3, so no. The Scout Sentinels on the left flank are going to shoot at the approaching Phalanx. So that's 6 autocannon shots, hitting on 4s, which we have 3, right on, and wounding on 2s, 3 wounds.
All right, so the Archmagos Prime is the first model to be hit. He has a 2-up armor save, and he has successfully tanked those 3 shots.
Militia turn 4, assault phase. The Ogrins have charged, making a 4-inch charge into the rear of the Phalanx. Combat between the Militia and the Phalanx on the right flank. The Militia attacked with 10 attacks and caused 1 wound.
All right, so 4-up armor for those Thalax has failed. Feel no pain? Oh no. All right, so that middle Thalax has got a wound left on him. Striking initiative 2, the Thalax coming with 6 attacks, requiring 4s to hit. Oh geez. All right, so 3, not too bad. Oh, that was 3. Strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound, and that is 3 3-up armor saves.
Right, and all but 1 of those was made by the Militia.
All right, so the combat is drawn. However, the banner is within range of this combat, so the Militia win by 1, and the Thalax will need to take a leadership test. They are stubborn on leadership 8. Oh, they passed on a 7. That is great news.
In the centre, the Ogrins have attacked with 3 Hammer of Wrath initiative 10 attacks.
Yep, and they amazingly have scored 3 wounds against the Thalax. It's not looking good for the Thalax. They require 4-up armor saves. 1 pass, 2 fail, double 6. Come on. Oh no, that is terrible. All right, so 2 wounds suffered on one of those Thalax.
Next stage is initiative 3. The Ogrins have 4 attacks apiece. That's 3 basic plus 1 for the charge. And their weapon skill 4, so hitting on 3s. That's what we like to see.
That was pretty good. Your strength 5, toughness 5, so wounding on 4s.
Not what we like to see, just the 2.
Okay, this is good for the Thalax. All right, so we've got 4-up armor. If we fail any of these, we do lose a Thalax because 1 is on 1 wound. Oh, this is bad. So we fail the armor save. Feel no pain. Okay, so we fail both. So 1 Thalax is killed and 1 other has 1 wound.
13 attacks from the Militia for the Thalax, hitting on 4s. So that's 4 attacks, 4 hits, sorry.
6 is to wound.
And 1 wound.
Alrighty, all right. Again, another 4-up armor save for the Thalax. Oh, geez. 6 up, come on. Okay, and another wound is suffered. Striking back at initiative 2. The 4 attacks on the Thalax cohort are going into the Grenadiers. They require 4s to hit. That is 3 hits. That's not too bad. Strength 7, 2s to wound. And that is 3 wounds. Now 3-up armor saves. Oh.
2 lost Militia.
The Thalax have unfortunately lost combat, but they are stubborn and will require a leadership test of 8 or under. Oh, and they pass on a 7. That is lucky ducky.
The Militia turn 4 went pretty well. We pumped in a bit of shooting, which wasn't very effective, but I'm really happy with how the central combat's gone. Managed to take one Thalax and a couple of wounds on another.
Mechanicum, turn 4, movement phase. Not masses to do for the Mechanicum. Two of the other Thalax cohorts are in combat. One in the centre and one over by the bastion over there. So they're doing whatever they do. However, on this side, the Magos has separated from the 3 Thalax. The reason being, the Thalax will need to try and kill those 3 militia, and then that will open up the Magos to move through that gap and then charge the vehicles behind and try and take them out. He will have a go with his melter guns to try and take 1 or 2 and then make the charge into the final one. So we'll have to see how it goes. Mechanicum, turn 4 shooting phase. A slight change from the original plan in the movement phase, but we are going to start with the Arch Magos Prime, and he's going to fire his 2 melter gun shots into the sentinels behind the infantry. The infantry will confer a 5+ cover save for being intervening models, but because the designated target is within 12 inches of the Cybot Colaris, they only suffer, they get a -1 to their cover save, which means they're on a 6-up cover. Lot to explain, lot going on. All right, so we're going to start with the Magos. Hits on 2s with 2 melter guns. Always rolls a 1, absolutely. So now we're in double armor pen, so we're strength 8. Easily a penetrate, but we get a 6-up cover from the intervening models. Failed. So let's see if we can explode it. We don't even explode it. So that is 1 hull point and a shaken result on that lead sentinel. In the movement phase, the Thalax were going to fire into the militia units there. Then they changed their mind to go into the vehicles, and then they've changed their mind back again. So lots of to and fro with decisions. It's quite key here. But they have decided to shoot into those militia because that 3-up armor is pretty good. So we will fire 3 lightning guns into those militia, requiring 3s to hit. It's a full complement of hits. 2s to wound, shred and rending. Shred. Okay, so that is 3 armor saves on 3-ups. Those militia are absolutely fine. Mechanicum, turn 4 assault phase. Because of the distance with the basing and the models, the Magos could not charge the Sentinels. So we had planned that the Thalax were going to do a better job and kill those militia off, but it doesn't matter. So the militia have been charged by the Thalax. Their overwatch was ineffective, and the Thalax made it in with a huge 6-inch charge, and we will now resolve the 3 combats. Combat begins on the right flank with the militia at initiative 3.
3 attacks. That's 2 hits and 4+.
6s to wound.
Nope.
Oh, this is good news. So no wounds dealt out on the Thalax. Striking back at initiative 2 with 9 attacks. So the 3 Thalax into the militia. 4s to hit. We need a good roll here. So we've got 4 hits, which isn't too bad. Would have liked a few more. We are strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound, and that is 4 wounds. We'll take that. 3-up armor.
4 3-up armor saves. All but 1 made.
That is unbelievable. All right, so the Thalax have won the combat by a difference of 1, but we're just going to check the distance of that banner and get back to you. Just checking the range of that banner, and it is within range of the squad, bringing the combat resolution up by 1, and that combat is a draw.
The combat in the centre between the Thalax, the Ogryn, and the Militia Grenadiers. The Grenadiers and the Ogrins were both striking at initiative 3. So we'll start with the Grenadiers. 11 attacks.
Hitting on 4s. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good. Sorry, that's 5, 6, 7. 7. Looks like I might have wasted my 6s. Hopefully not. 7 hits. Oh, maybe not.
Wow. 6s to wound. Strength 3,
So
toughness
3.
5. So 3 armor saves, 4 ups. Come on, this is good. Feel no pain. Get it? Yes,
yeah.
Take that. That's good news.
And next up we have the 3 Ogrins, which have 3 attacks basic each. So that's 9 attacks. Weapon skill 4.
3s to hit. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And your strength 5, toughness 5, so 4s to wound.
And that's also pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good.
So all but 2. So that's 5 wounds.
Oh man. All right, so 5 dice, 4 up armor saves. Come on. Looks like a Thalax might die. 6 up, feel no pain. Oh, 1 Thalax is dead and 1 to strike. Crucial combat now at initiative 2. Can we hold the militia off from consolidating and getting closer to their objective? Let's find out. So 2 attacks from that Thalax requiring 4s to hit. That is nil pois. So the militia have won the combat and the Thalax will need to take a leadership test. Stubborn on an 8. Oh, they passed on a 7, so they are successful in holding up those 2 squads in the centre of the battlefield. That's a great result. Combat on the other side of the board between the Thalax and the Militia Grenadiers. We've got the Grenadiers going at initiative 3.
There's 9 attacks, hitting on 4s. Oh, 3.
3.
And wounding on 6s.
Oh, okay, we got away unscathed there, which is pretty good. So the Thalax will get to attack back. They've got 6 attacks, requiring 4s to hit. Oh, I'll take that. It's better than the last round anyway. So 3 hits is pretty good. We are strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound. Can we get through that 3 up armor save?
3. Oh, so 2 militiamen down.
The Thalax did win by a difference of 2, but because the banner is still within range, doing some great work there, the militia only lose by 1. So the leadership 8, -1 is 7 to stay in combat.
Come on, chaps. Oh, not quite made it.
Slight correction, we keep forgetting the Alchem Jacker special rule for the militia, which means they do not suffer any negative modifiers. So Oliver required an 8 for his leadership test and rolled an 8, so he has passed, and that combat will continue for another round. End of turn for the Mechanicum. Combat has kind of gone the way it's gone for all of the games, just tying up the militia and the Thalax in combat. Not a bad thing, but neither army is making progress on their objectives. On this flank over here, it would have been nice for the move and assault combo here with the Thalax and the Archmagos Prime to do some better damage on those Sentinels, but we are where we are, so we shall now brace for those autocannon shots slamming into the Thalax HQ.
Militia turn 5 movement phase. The Scout Sentinels on the left flank have shifted into reverse to hopefully try and lure out the Magos into the open. The Grenadiers in the centre and the Brute Ogrins are still locked in combat, so no movement there. The lone Scout Sentinel is still just hovering around in the centre, seeing if he can pick up some targets. The Heavy Weapon Support Squad has remained stationary in its position, just surveying the battlefield and trying to identify targets, closely supported by the Force Commander and his retinue. And on the right flank, the Militia Grenadiers are still locked in combat. Militia turn 5 shooting. The Heavy Support Squad targeted the Cyber Ocularis, and with overwhelming heavy firepower, they annihilated him. The Scout Sentinels are going to shoot the Magos with 6 autocannon shots. The most forward Scout Sentinel can only snap fire, as represented by the blue dice. It will require 6s, and the regular Scout Sentinels will require 4s. So none of the snapshots get through, but 2 of the regulars do.
2s to wound. That's 2 wounds, so 2 2-up armor saves from the Magos. Passed.
Militia turn 5 close combat. The Grenadiers will now attack the Thalax. So 2 attacks.
Oh, 2 hits.
Both hits. Wounding on 6s. No wounds.
Alright, that's good news for the Thalax. So they will attack back with 6 attacks, 2 each, requiring 4s. Oh, jeez. Okay, so only 2 hits. 2s to wound, though. That's good. 3-up armor saves. Come on.
Oh, only 1 made.
2 kill 1.
Due to Alchem Jackers, we do not suffer negative modifiers, so again with a leadership of 7. 8.
Oh, that is a fail. That's good news for the Thalax. So the militia will fall back 2d6. It's going 5, and the Thalax will consolidate 6. This is a good start.
Combat in the centre. The Ogrins initiative 3, so that's 9 attacks in total. Weapon skill 4.
Hitting on 3s.
Pretty good. So that's 5 hits.
5s to wound. Falls to wounds, excuse me. 2 wounds, so 4 up armor save for the Thalax. Come on. Oh, this is bad news. Double 6. Oh, okay, fine. That Thalax has 1 wound remaining.
Next up, the Grenadiers will attack the Thalax. So they're hitting on 4s. 1, 2, 3. That's pretty poor. And wounded on 6s, so the 3 hits and no wounds.
Oh, that Thalax has stayed alive, maybe. All right, so he does get to attack back with 2 attacks, hitting on 4s, 1 hit, 2s to wound, strength 7, AP 4, but 3 up armor save.
No, failed.
Oh, that is a 1. So the Thalax do lose by 1, but they are stubborn. And they pass on a 6, holding those 2 units up.
Combat between the Militia and the Thalax on the right-hand side. Starting off with the Militia with initiative 3, 7 attacks, hitting on 4s. Oh, 1 hit. Wounding on 6s. No wounds.
All right, so the Mechanicum have got a slight reprieve on this side of the board. So there is 6 attacks, hitting on 4s. That is better. I think that's the best they've done all game, to be honest. We are strength 7, wounding on 2s, and that is 3 wounds on the Militia. So 3 up armor saves. Oh,
Dropped 2.
Mechanicum have won the combat by a difference of 2, but the Militia and Alchem Jackers don't suffer negative modifiers, and they need a leadership of 8.
Stay in the fight.
Oh my word.
End of turn 5. I'm kind of indifferent to how it's gone. It's just carried on. I suppose it's gone the last 2 or 3 turns where I'm just slowly grinding it out. I was hoping to have maybe swung that central combat and pushed those troops elsewhere, but that's not really happened. So
Mechanicum turn 5 movement phase, and we are going to try and execute the plan that we wanted to execute in the previous turn. So the Thalax have shot forward and they will shoot their lightning guns and charge the Sentinels, and then the Magos has been left the duty to kill 1 lonely guardsman because that 3 up armor on those Grenadiers is tough. So we're hoping to score, to kill 2 units on this side of the board, and that will hopefully count towards the attrition towards the end of the game, because I don't think either of the forces will get to their objectives. Other than that, the rest of the Thalax are tied up in combat, with this lone Thalax likely to lose its life this turn. Mechanicum turn 5 shooting phase kicks off with the 3 lightning guns into the Sentinels, and we will fire 3 shots, 3s to hit. That is appalling. We get 1 hit. It's strength 7, and we need 3s to glance, 4s to pen. We don't even get a glance. That is terrible. After a long debate, it's been decided that the Thalax will charge into the Sentinels later on in the assault phase, and the Magos has been left to fire both of its melter guns into that Grenadier to take him out. So 2 shots hitting on 2s. I was expecting a double 1 there. And then finally 2s to kill that lone Grenadier. Oh, finally happened. Okay, so that's good news. Mechanicum, turn 5 assault phase, and the Thalax declared a charge against the Sentinels. They do get to Overwatch, which hit twice, caused 2 wounds, but thankfully 1 armor was passed and 1 feel no pain was passed, which was pretty amazing. They then rolled a 4-inch charge to get into combat with those Sentinels. Crucial combat here for the Thalax in combat with those Sentinels. They get 3 attacks each on the charge, and there is 9 attacks going into those Sentinels, requiring 4s to hit. So we've got 2, 4, 6 hits. That's the best they've done all game. So now they're strength 7 due to those heavy chain blades. Front armor 10, 3s to glance, 4s to pen. We've got 1 out the dice tray. That is pretty good. So that's 2, 4, 6 hull points gone. They can't explode the vehicles, and there is only 5 hull points remaining in the squad. Those Sentinels are wrecked. Combat in the centre of the board. Can the lone Thalax hold off against these Ogryns and the Grenadiers? We'll find out. Starting with the Ogryns at initiative 3, we've got 9 attacks.
9 attacks, weapon skill 4. Fairly good rolling.
Yep.
So 5 hits.
Strength 5, toughness 5, so 4s. That's a good roll.
So 4 wounds.
4 wounds. All right, so we've got 4 up armor save, 1 wound remaining, and he is dead. Unlucky.
After winning combat, the Grenadiers consolidated a lowly 1 inch. Luckily, the Ogrins got their arse into gear and consolidated 6.
Combat on the far side of the board, next to the Bastion, between the Thalax and the Grenadiers. The Grenadiers strike first at initiative 3.
That's 5 attacks. Hitting on 4s, just the 1. And wounding on 6s. No.
Oh, lucky escape again from the Thalax. They will attack back with their 6 attacks. 4s to hit. That is 1 hit, amazingly. We are strength 7, 2s to wound. That's good. 3 up armor save. Oh my word. That combat will continue. Slight correction there. The banner coming into play, giving +1 to the result towards the militia, and the Thalax have lost the combat, not drawn. So they require a leadership test, 8 or less. Stubborn. They pass on a 7. That is incredibly lucky. That's the end of turn 5 for the Mechanicum. Some great results there over on the far flank where the Archmagos Prime is taking out those Sentinels. It's going to be a really tricky game now. The Thalax will not make it onto the objective for the militia. So we are just going to try and kill units as much as possible. Sounds a lot harder than it looks.
The militia are going all out this turn to try and take down the Magos Dominus. Everything we have is getting poured on him, so we've moved various units to a better firing arcs. The Ogrins have moved rearward slightly towards him, as well as the lone Sentinel in the centre. The heavy support team have stayed where they are, along with the command platoon. The command platoon have stayed where they are just to protect the objective. Militia, turn 6, shooting. The Scout Sentinel in the centre is going to shoot at the Magos. So that's 2 shots from his autocannon, hitting on 4s. Both hit.
It's a good start. 2s to wound. Oh, jeez. He's only got 3 wounds total, so we'll see if we can weather the firepower. But he does have a 2-up armour save. Oh, he's good so far.
Brute Ogrins next, shooting at the Magos again. Only 2 have a decent line of sight, so that's 6 heavy bolter shots in total. Hitting on 5s, so AP2. Just 2 hits. And wounding on 4s.
3. Strength 5, toughness 4 is 3s.
2 wounds.
Oh, 2-up armour saves. Oh, just passed on a 2 or 3. That is 1 lucky Magos.
Next up, the fire support squad, turning 4 heavy bolters on the Magos Prime. That's 12 shots in total. Ballistic skill 3, so hitting on 4s. Oh, pretty decent that.
What have we got? How many hits?
So 6 hits.
Nice. Toughness, strength 5, toughness 4 is 4 3s to wound.
And that is poor, just the 1 wound.
Oh, all right, 2-up armour save. Oh, it does squeak through though, so that Magos has lost a wound.
Militia, turn 6, assault phase. Really need these Grenadiers to hold out over here. So starting off with just 5 attacks, hitting on initiative skill 3. So 4s.
That's pretty good.
And then 6s to wound.
Oh, it looks like it could be the day for the Thalax. So they will strike back at initiative 2. 6 attacks, 4s to hit. Oh, and that is the best roll they've had all game at last. It's all coming up Millhouse. Now we are strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound. That is 5 wounds. So we've got 3-up armour saves.
So that's... 2 more militia are down.
The militia have lost combat, however, due to Alchem Jackers, they do not suffer negative modifiers. So they need a leadership of 8 or less.
Oh, still in the fight.
Unbelievable.
Next off, the big combat here. The Ogrins trying to smash in to the Magos Prime. It's quite a big charge. 6 is what I need.
Let's have a look. Oh my word, it wasn't 8. We did do the Overwatch off camera. The 2 multi-guns failed to hit the Ogrins, but the Ogrins have smashed into that Magos.
Only 2 of the Ogrins managed to get in range for a Hammer of Wrath attack, resulting in 2 wounds. Resulting in 1 wound, which was saved by the Magos' armour.
At initiative 4, the Magos Prime strikes into the Brute Squad with its power weapon.
He's weapon skill 4 versus 4, so 4s to hit. 1 hit. Strength 4, toughness 5, so we need 5s to wound. That is nothing.
Next up, the Brute Ogrins will retaliate with 3 attacks basic, +1 for the charge at initiative step 3. That's 12 attacks. Weapon skill 4 against weapon skill 4, so 4s and above. Oh, it's pretty poor. It's just the 4.
Oh, that may have saved the Magos, but we'll find out. Strength 5, toughness 5.
3 wounds caused.
That's really good. All right, so he has 2 wounds remaining and a 2-up armor save. Fingers crossed. Oh! That is a triple 1. And that Warlord has been brought low by those Ogrins.
Concluding that combat, the Brute Ogrins have consolidated, trying to box in the Thalax. End of turn 6. I'm feeling pretty pleased with how that went. I don't think that round could have gone much better. I stayed in the combat on the right flank and managed to take off that Magos Prime, which could prove invaluable.
Mechanicum turn 6 movement, and this is the 6th and final turn for the Mechanicum. Now, the Mechanicum had to make a very desperate play. We need to pull a point back, which means we need to kill a couple more units this turn to draw even with the Militia. The initial plan was for the Thalax here to take out that Sentinel, but with only 1 shot in range, it wasn't going to destroy it. So we're going to have to take a really long gamble on 2 shots into these into the fire support teams, remove a base, and that'll force them onto a leadership test. And if they fail and they fall back, they will count as being destroyed at the end of the game, counting towards the units killed at the end of the game. And then finally, we've got this one combat here. Hopefully, these 3 Thalax can pull down this last remaining Grenadier. Mechanicum turn 6 shooting phase kicks off with these 2 Thalax and their lightning guns firing into the fire support team. We need to destroy one of these bases to make them fall back, maybe. So here we go, 3s to hit. Oh, that's a good start. Now it's 2s to kill because they're strength 7, toughness 3, so insta kill them, and they're AP 4 against armor 4, so 2s to kill. Okay, that is good, and that does remove 2 of those fire support team bases. Here we go. This is for some points. So they need to take a leadership test. They're leadership 6, so we need a roll. Oh, what a gamble. Okay, and how far do they fall back? Go on. Okay, so it's 6. We will give that a measure and see where we go. Mechanicum, turn 6 assault phase, and this is the last assault of the game. We've got 3 Thalax facing off against a single Grenadier, and the Grenadier will get to attack first with his 3 attacks. Hitting on 4s. 1 hit, no wounds. All right, can the Thalax take out 1 Guardsman or 1 Grenadier with 6 attacks? Hit on 4s. It's looking likely. Let's have a look. Strength 7, toughness 3, 2s to wound. Oh, and that is 3 wounds. We need 3 up armor saves. Oh, he does do it. All right, and let's get a consolidate from the Thalax. 3 inches. That is the end of the game. The Thalax had some good luck there towards the end on the very last turn of the very last dice roll. So we'll now tot up some victory points and we'll get back to you with a result.
Wow, what a crazy game. I had an absolutely fantastic time.
Yeah, completely mirror that. It was just incredible. It was there's quite a lot of key moments in the game, weren't there? That were sort of big moments all over the board, actually. So.
It was a bit wild. Who would have thought that a 1,200 point game would have produced such excitement? And, you know, as you mentioned, there were so many little pockets of games, which we see quite often in smaller point games that are really critical because every loss is really important, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
It's crazy. We will do the victory points very early on so we can get into the chat a little bit later on. Let's remind ourselves there was a point available for onslaught attack, which if you killed a unit in the first turn, garnered you a victory point. There was attrition and there was warlord, and of course there was the onslaught objectives. Now, neither of us managed to get to our objective, did we?
Stuck in the meat grinder for most of that in the centre, really.
Yeah, we did try. So 5 points wasn't scored on either side. The Mechanicum, although it had an amazing blitz on the last turn, only managed 4 units destroyed from the militia, but also the militia also killed 4 units of militia. So there was no points scored for the attrition, or it was a draw. So do you get 1 point each, or do you both get 0? So we decided to go for a 0, but the militia managed to pip out the warlord at the very end of the Ogre and Brute squad. An amazing charge.
Yeah, looking back on it, it was well worth the gamble. But obviously, if it hadn't have paid off, it would have cost me dear, I think. So,
And
it
rolling,
was just
and rolling 3 ones will not do the job, will not keep your warlord alive.
Yeah.
So in the end, the militia won 1-0. So congratulations.
Thank you very much. It was pretty unlucky for you, I think, you having played it so well, and then just three killer dice rolls at the end.
It's just the way it goes, isn't it? You could argue I could have bubble wrapped the Magos Prime a lot earlier on the game, or kept him bubble wrapped with those 3 Thalax, but we needed that versatility of breaking those units off to target 2 different units. And I think I think where it came unstuck for the Mechanicum was, I think, turn 4 or 5, where I tried to take out 3 guardsmen with lightning guns and then try the double melters into the sentinels, and it just didn't work the way it planned. But I think it was a genius charge from the Brute squad there. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I could really do. I just wanted to be aggressive because we got stuck for so long in the middle. Neither of us really got that much of a chance to show going forward. And I was a bit disappointed earlier on when the Ogre charged into the combat in the centre of the table to reinforce the Grenadiers, and they didn't just take down the last, or maybe 1 or 2 Thalax.
Yeah.
So that would have helped the militia get away, maybe, and secure the objective. But having had that snatched from me, I thought we really better go for the extra points and take out the warlord.
Yeah, I think it was a really good game because you had the high toughness, the high toughness from the Thalax, but they really lacked the offensive power in the combat. But then the Grenadiers, although they had the numbers and the rate of attacks, they didn't quite have the strength because you were obviously winning on 6s.
Yeah.
So for both parties, it was an absolute battle of attrition on both sides.
Yeah, definitely. Once the militia got down to below half strength, the chance of you getting even 1 wound, it was just non-existent really. And luckily for me, I think more by luck than judgment, the banner was in a pretty decent place for the whole of that game, which just saved me so many times. That +1, just time and time again, just meant I could lose a combat but actually just stay there, or just about win.
If there was, because we measured it a couple of times and it was literally half an inch in range. I was like, if this happened at 2 inches before, it wouldn't be in effect and stuff might have moved on a bit quicker. But proof that a banner, you think, +1 to combat resolution is pretty poor, but it worked. It kept the army in place for the entire game.
Yeah, definitely.
It was so good.
Definitely.
I really enjoyed this game. I haven't had a game for quite a long time. I film and I watch loads of games every week, but it's not until you get into battle and you've got that, the cut and thrust and the rise and fall of your heart rate and the excitement. I actually had a fantastic time. And 1,200 points running a mono Thanax list. It was fun.
Yeah, it was definitely good. There's quite a lot of, I've got 3 big units that are all the same, and obviously all your units were the same really, aren't they?
Yeah.
From your Magos. But even having said that, it didn't really feel like we were just repeating things because things were slightly different or slightly less important or more important. Still, had quite a lot of variety, I think.
Yeah. For me, I loved the struggle of human men battling against massive robots. And for me, everyone asks, how did you get into Heresy? Why did you start? Oh, that's the very reason. Big metal robots with lasery type guns shooting at stuff. And for me, this was just the epitome of the reason why I got into Heresy. And you might say, boring list, mono list, you've just got repetition. But I'm not a very intelligent guy, and if I have too many rules to deal with, I really struggle. So for me, keeping it simple was just the absolute key to this game for me. And okay, I didn't win, but I think I put up a reasonable fight considering the numbers that the Mechanicum were facing. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I think back in what you were just saying there, thematically, I think the Heresy happens on such a big scale. That's how the fights are going to be, and it's going to be your average Joes versus a load of Thalax. It's not necessarily going to be all the elite units all the time. You're probably never going to, as a basic infantry soldier, you're probably never going to see those. So yeah, it's cool.
It was good fun. There is no doubt after the game, the battlefield is great and it's quite realistic, and I've done a board build for this board, so if you want to have a look at that, it's on the website. It's released the same time as this video. But the fact that The Militia are, we talked about this from the beginning, the way they're modelled, the way they look, the game for me just looked absolutely fantastic. And I tried to match the colours of the bases to the battlefield as much as possible. And I think we nailed it pretty much.
Yeah, I'd say probably home field advantage, really, with the sun being a slightly light shade that matches me.
Yeah, I mean, it worked so well. And just the look and feel of this game was brilliant. I really enjoyed it. And I really hope you did too. I'd love to hear your comments on the game as much as possible. Now, if you would like to follow Oliver's incredible hobby, where can we find you?
I post a bit, mostly works in progress because I never really finish anything, on Instagram. So that my handle for that is Webster MKIV. So just Webster Mark IV.
Brilliant. And please go to his Instagram page and leave him a comment and pressure him to finish.
yeah, do that.
Because we would love to get him back after Christmas. I know you're working on some tanks, aren't you?
Yeah, I have been working. I probably could have built a real tank, I think, in less time than it's taken me to do these. But yeah, they'll see the table. I think eventually they'll get there.
That'll be cool. We'd love to get him back for another game. And of course, you can follow the channel on Instagram out as well. It's just at the30kchannel.com. That's it. That's the end of the game. I know you've got a long drive back to Cheltenham now.
Yeah. Well,
cruise on the motorway, you'll be all right.
Critique my own performance on the way back. And
you've won. There's no need to. It's all good. We've fed and watered him as well, so hopefully.
Yeah, I'm probably fall asleep now.
Yeah, drive into the central reservation. But I really enjoyed this game. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. It's been brilliant.
Good.
Really enjoyable.
Excellent stuff. And we'll see you in the next one.
Thank you.